emotional.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. I see you, Deborah Johnson. Good morning to you. What's up, Regina Shorts? Good morning to you. Hey, Shirley Nicholson. Good morning to you. Shardinia, what's up? How are you doing? How can we continue to pray for your family? Jackie, so good to see you this morning. What's up, Latrice Jones? What's up? I see you, Kim Edmondson. Good morning, good morning, good morning to you as well. Yeah, it is, hump day, hump day, hump day. And I'm excited that after I go through some of the headline news, we will have Devontae Goins with us talking about his new book, Black America. It's time for us to save America again. And I'm excited about that conversation that we are going to have with him. And in addition, get your merch, y'all. Get your merch. You can get your vote. This is the signature vote t-shirt, whether it's crew neck, V-neck, sweatshirt. There's a multitude of colors, men and women. There's even, I believe, some children's sizes. It creates a great conversation when we're going into voting. And if you received the Friday rundown this past week, I talked about stories, and no one can argue your story and how you can use stories to encourage people to register to vote, but not leave it there, but actually go and vote. So I'm really excited to talk about that today. The inspirational message today, just let me tell you, you don't want to go anywhere, because if it floored me, it's going to floor you. And I see my brother coming in here. Good morning to you, Louis Pryor. Good morning, good morning, good morning. All right, y'all, before I go anywhere else, I just got to pause for a moment. It shook me last night. It's still kind of messing with me today. So if I'm off a little bit, that's why. But we just want to raise the name Marcellus Williams. Marcellus Williams. Despite serious doubts about the integrity of his conviction, the Missouri, tonight, Missouri executed an innocent man. And my heart just, all of that. So, yeah. That one bothered me. I see you, Adrian. Good morning. Yes, Kim Edmondson, we must pray. All right, y'all. Now that I put that out there, I wanted that to be the first piece of news that we put out there. But how about Ohio? Can we talk about Ohio? Can we talk about the nonprofit Haitian Bridge Alliance, who filed criminal charges against Donald Trump and his running mate J.D. Vance in Springfield, Ohio, for their role in perpetuating baseless rumors about the Haitian community? Can we talk about that? Here's the filings: disrupting public service, making false alarms, telecommunications harassment, aggravated menacing, violating the probation against complicity. So listen, there you go. When that came through yesterday, and my phone lit up with alert after alert after alert, I said, wow. And if that's not it, J.D. Vance, J.D. Vance went to Pennsylvania supermarket good morning, David, to rant about egg prices, claiming eggs were $4 a dozen. Now, if y'all see the picture that is circulating social media, he is in front. He's complaining about $4 for a dozen of eggs. But he forgot to remove the sign behind him in the grocery store that said they're $2.99 a dozen, and then he's holding in his hand a 2 dozen carton of eggs. Dude. But I love how people are on it. And of course, the the Harris and Voss campaign took it and ran with it. They are the bomb.com when it comes to social media. So that's happening as well. So shout out again to the nonprofit Haitian Bridge Alliance, who filed charges. And then shout out to the Harris team, who took that from J.D. Vance and ran with it. I just love it. Jackie said, I love it. They need to watch what they say. Listen, they need to. I see you, Marion. Good morning to you. Y'all, Ted Cruz and Colin Allred agreed to a debate as their U.S. Senate race gains attention. And right now they're neck and neck. Ted Cruz may be seeing his way out of there. Y'all, in Ohio, We have Bernie Moreno. It's like, what are y'all saying? A GOP Senate candidate asked why women over 50 care about abortion. Did you really just ask that question? He did. And he didn't realize he was being taped. He says, I'm thinking to myself, I don't think that's an issue for you if you're over 50. What? So that is just crazy. Kim Edmondson said they all need to have several seats. Listen, then Nebraska. Remember yesterday I said Georgia, Arizona, and Nebraska is soon to follow. Well, a GOP rep said, no, we're not doing that. So the GOP conceded defeat in their push to change how the state of Nebraska counts its electoral votes as a way to help former President Donald Trump beat Vice President Kamala Harris in November. And this was a key representative that opposed this. Like, we're not doing this. So on yesterday, they conceded defeat. They were like, not doing it. So U.S. Senator Deb Fischer, excuse me, told reporters on Monday that after a key Republican and Nebraska legislator announced his opposition, we said absolutely not. So listen, prayers of the righteous availeth much. That's been in my spirit all week. The prayers of the righteous, the prayers of the righteous. All right, now. And then Trump needs to pay attention to the words that are coming out of his mouth. Which comedian did that? It was a movie. But anyway, Trump threatened on Monday to impose high tariffs on imports if he is elected, regardless of whether Congress could pass them or not, in a move that economists warn could cause havoc for the economy. So, yeah, that's happening too. That's happening too. And if you turn to the first page of Project 2025, he talks about eliminating having to go through Congress. Y'all better read Project 2025. I'm like, this is just a beautiful picture that's unfolding. And I'm taking everything I can so we can talk about it right here on News in Motion. I see you, Donita. I see you, Donita. I see you, Donita. So that's happening. Then you had Goldman Sachs. It's just a win. It's just a win. Who came out and said the economy will do well under a President Kamala Harris. The economy would be in trouble under a President Donald Trump. Listen, and I love how the Harris team, yeah, I'm being real biased right now. By now, y'all know who I'm voting for. I love how the Harris team will take the content and within seconds it's up. I'm like, who is this team? We all need a team like this. All right, y'all, from the White House, the Biden administration released a proposal to ban Chinese developed software from internet connected cars in the United States on security grounds. This is coming out of New York Times. Officials said the measure would likely be made a permanent rule before Joe Biden's term ends in January. Imports such as cars are rare in the U.S. market. However, they're paying particular attention to some of the technology that's coming out from a conversation from Russia and China. So there's that. There's that. All right, y'all. I'm not going real deep into this, but there's another virus out there. It's a non-polio type virus. Enterovirus D68. They said, this very rare. They said the common virus can lead to a rare but serious polio-like complication known as acute flaccid. Now, I don't even know how to say the last word, okay? Y'all know me by now. I'm not even going to make it up. But I'll spell it for you. Myelitis. There you have it. I wasn't going to butcher that. I could have tried, but I wasn't. And this is from the CDC as well as CNN Health is reporting. They're saying that some of the symptoms could include limb weakness and paralysis. Children are among the most affected by this condition. I see you, Rosanna Bivens. Good morning to you. They're not real sure how it spreads, except if you're in groups. They said many people who have already contracted the virus have no symptoms at all or have very mild cold-like symptoms. So just be mindful of that. If you have any type of experience with just being lethargic or muscle weakness or something like that, you probably do need to see your physician. So I want to put this out here before I go to Devontae. This is going to be a great conversation. I want to put this out here before I go to Devontae. And that is this. What's your vote plan? I told you I'm going to get sick of me. What is your vote plan? How are you planning to vote? Have you begun looking at a sample ballot? You can find that at ballotpedia.org. And then put in your state, put in your district. Y'all know your districts. Please know your districts. I'm just curious. Those, I know if you're on audio, don't do this or send it to me later. But for those of you who are on the live video and you're in the chat, I just want to see. Put your state and your district in there. I just want to see how many of y'all know. Hi, what's up, Judy Neal? Put in your state and your district. Because if you don't know your district, that's a problem. That's a problem. I'm just going to be honest with you. That's a problem. Who are your representatives? And this isn't a test. I want to push you to say, yo, what district am I in? What, I know my county, I know my city, state, I know my township, but whose district? Who's the district? What does that look like? So put that in there. Do you know your polling location? These are things to plan your vote. Do you know what time that you can begin voting on the day of the election, which is November the 5th? Do you know when early voting starts in your area? Is it better for you to early vote? Do you need to possibly go because of a work schedule on a Saturday? Do you have early voting locations open on a Saturday? These are things you should begin looking at now. So what's your vote plan? Deborah Johnson said District 12. What's your vote plan? What is your vote plan? How are you going to get to the polls? Are you going to do absentee ballots? Do you know when the deadline is to turn in your absentee ballot? That's a vote plan. Y'all, that's a plan. Have you completed your application for absentee ballot? Is it too late to complete an application for absentee ballot? Where would you drop it off? Are there drop boxes in your area? Or is it best for you to go and take it to the I can't even get it out there, or take it to the post office. Kim Edmondson says, if I get assigned to work my polling location, I will vote that day. If I get assigned to another location, I will vote early. I like that. What's up, Dr. Antoinette? Davia says District 12. I'm 12 too, by the way, y'all. Jackie says, I do know my polling location, but I've been using the absentee ballot lately. Okay, Jackie. Okay. So Jackie, I would ask you, and I'm going to use you as an example as people are tuning in. I see you, Rosanna, District 9. Jackie, I hear what you're saying, but here's the question. Have you completed your application to receive your absentee ballot? Do you know the last day to complete that application? Do you know the deadline to return it? And as I said yesterday, don't hold on to it. Once you get it, complete it, take it back. Adrian says Ohio District 3. Thank you, Adrian. Thank you. So, y'all, these are things we need to know. And I share this because I was with some of my nieces and nephews not too long ago. We were having this conversation. And they all picked up their phones and they were like, I said, y'all don't even know, do y'all? They were like, no, but we can really learn. And I'm glad that they did it. So every now and then, if I'm in a small group or with another person, I'm asking these questions. The other day, my daughter was like, Mom, I said, do you know? Well, I moved. Okay, so do you know where you go now? Like, find that out now. Do you know what time things open? What's happening? People don't think about that, and then at the last minute they become frustrated trying to do it when I'm encouraging you just to do it now. Go ahead and have all of that outlined now. I was sharing with a group of community people the other day, I guess it was Sunday, and we were talking about, I said, have a poster board. I said, if you're not used to putting things, these were older people. So if you're not used to putting things on the phone, I said, have a poster board and put on the poster board the dates for voting. I said, put on the top. So you can go to Dollar Tree, $1.25 tree now, and get a poster board, put on the top my vote plan, and then put the dates and things that are needed. And place that in a room, in your mud room, in your garage, at the front door, in the bathroom, wherever, so that you can look at, it's that important. And Dr. Antoinette said, stroll to the polls. And there are a lot of souls to the polls, strolls to the polls that are coming up. How can you work within them? Pastor Derek Holmes and I, when we worked together on this contract, we were out there and it was so much fun, but the lines were 4 or 5 hours long. So I have a relationship with Jane Abel, Donato's Pizza, and I had them bring all these pizzas, donated, connection, and then collaboration, partnership, and then we fed the people in line. A lot of them were coming from church. Many people on the church, on the buses for the church, had catered different foods. So when they left church, they were getting on the bus with a brown bag. Start thinking of things like this and see how you can partner. And hear me when I share this, y'all. And then I'm going to bring on Devontae. Think about ways you can partner. When I share this, it's not just for this season, it's for any season. So think, well, I cater. I'm gonna use you, Deb. Her husband, they have a catering business. So let's cater. So we're gonna partner, donate, connect, whatever, so we can make sure that people are fed. Child care centers. And this is happening. We saw it on Morse Road in Franklin County, 16, where there was like bouncy houses where they had to go through a background check and things like that. And the children were there, so they weren't trying to figure out childcare and restlessness. If you don't like that and you have children, do you have childcare? That's a part of your vote plan. Okay, what kind of, if you go, I'm going with strolls to the polls, souls to the polls. If you're coming from church, I know y'all like to wear them heels. Do you have your flats? Do you have your tennis shoes in your tote bag? That's a vote plan. That's a vote plan. Again, the medication, your charger, all of that, that's a vote plan. Okay, so y'all gonna keep hearing me say these kind of things, but I'm doing this to empower you, to encourage you, to think about things. Listen, Davia, Devontae, anybody else out here with a book? You can set up a daggone book signing or say, I'm giving away 5 free books. I'm just throwing numbers out there. You might do 2, you might do 1. I'm going to do a book signing. I'm going to do this. People will come to that. Okay, we got to get creative. Somebody with painting, artistic abilities that you're painting, and then you auction off the paint at people in line at the end of the day. And then you take that funds and you say, okay, 50%, 20%, 30%, I'm going to donate to food insecurity. Y'all, this is how my mind works, okay? This is why I do what I do, and I love it. So find out ways to connect. Judy Neal says, we'll do early voting on October the 8th. In Ohio, 5th Congressional District. Yay. Dr. Antoinette, that is not the day for the man catcher shoes unless he's a podiatrist. Yep, you got it, Marion. No mayo, no tights. It's amazing how y'all remember this. So anyway, that's just some more to the vote plan. I'm going to keep building on that. Latrice Jones, I thought about you, just talking about autism organization. I saw Fred Jones come in here too somewhere. Autism organization and what you can do. People with breast cancer awareness. October is a great time to talk about breast cancer awareness, domestic violence, any other types of causes that are happening. Partner. Different places will let you set up you probably can't be out there vending, but you could possibly be out there passing out literature, having conversations. You have to be so many far feet away, but the lines are that long, you'll be able to do it. So find a way to make this community and build from community. Dr. Antoinette said, no eggs, no tuna. All right, y'all get it. All right, we got to bring in Devontae. And again, if y'all can say to the inspirational message, it jacked me up. Okay, I'm not trying to jack y'all up today, but if y'all can stay until the inspirational message, please do. But Devontae just recently wrote a book. He and I met probably about 5 years ago, and I helped him with his book. His title is called Black America. It's time for us to save America again. Here's just a little bit about the background of his book. In a time when the voices of many are silenced by systemic barriers, Black America, it's time for us to save America again. Calls upon the enduring strength and resilience of the Black community to lead the fight for justice and equality. This compelling work just dives into the harsh reality of felony disenfranchisement. I can never say that word. Shedding light on the millions of Americans who are denied their fundamental right to vote. So we're going to dig into this. And we're going to have this conversation. This is not just a book, y'all. It is a call to action, is to really think about my voice. How am I using my voice? How am I strategizing? How am I growing? And where do we go from here? And here's the other thing. We talked about this when News in Motion first came on the scene in 2020. And that is, we cannot just have these conversations when it's happening. The conversations need to continue. So even reading this book, reading A Month of Sundays, reading Inspire, A Call to Action, reading whatever it is that you're reading in this season, as you're reading it and you're digesting it, what's your plan? What are you doing from it? How are you leading this out, and what are you doing? So let me go ahead and bring in Devontae Goins so we can go ahead and jump into this conversation. Good morning.
Good morning, good morning, good morning.
Good
Thank you for having
morning.
me, Gail.
Absolutely, absolutely. Y'all know Devontae's always on location, okay? I said, you outside again. So here in Ohio, here in Central Ohio, we have big tables all over the place today. I'll be headed to one too. We have big tables all over the place. And he has a big table, so he's on location, so he can go right to his big table. I said, dude, for real? Like seriously, but that's how he moves. That's how he goes. So thank you so much for joining me this morning. I really want to get into this, to your book, and I don't know what I did. I think, did I leave mine at Kennedy Cakes? Because can't find my book. So if you have a
We'll make
copy,
sure you get another one. We'll make sure you
I
get
will.
another one.
I will. Yeah. Hold that up, because I have it. So I don't know what happened to it. So hold it up. So that's the book. You can get it on Amazon. And I want you all to do that. I want you all to support this Black man, this brother, this Black media executive. Get the book. Get the book. So thank you for popping it up. So let me ask this question. What inspired you to write this book? And I know the question, but I know the answer, but I want the people to know. And why do you believe it's important for Black America to take the lead in this election process?
Definitely. Before I get to that, I want to shout you out, Gail, because I worked with you so pointedly. I pushed off Roland and everybody else, Tavis, and all these other radio stations. I was like, look, got to wait till Gail Dudley and the News in Motion family are back on the saddle after break, because the book's been out now in about 2 months. So they could have the first one. They were like, are you serious? I'm like, yeah, my word is my bond. I said, I give Gail the first one. And so now the press tour can officially start. The book tour started, but now the press tour can start. But I wanted to make sure you all had the first conversation with me about the book via press and things like that. And just thank you so much. But the reason why I wanted to write this is because I care a lot about our Black community, running the only Black digital news outlet here in the state of Ohio. And you can't say you care about the Black community and about issues such as voting and all of these other things, the economics, healthcare, uh, food insecurities and things like that that impact us, if you aren't willing to speak up and do something about it and make it your livelihood. And so for me, being so intertwined with politics and news and at the center of it, it was just poignant that I write the book that I wrote. And if you look at the cover, you see the Capitol there and a fist holding a ballot right with the ballot box right there, in a sense, because the two all go hand in hand for what I'm doing. And so I'm passionate about voting. I'm sure just my family, just as all of your viewers and listeners' families, especially Black families and minority families, lost their lives. They had loved ones lose their lives fighting for our rights to vote, and then for us not to get out there and vote. It's
Right.
like this mind blowing to me.
Right. And I find myself, and you and I have had this conversation even last week at Kennedy Cakes. I find myself looking at people sideways when they say, well, I'm not sure I'm going to vote. What? Like I have no
Right.
more conversation for you. It's like, we're not, this conversation is over. But then I had to pause and say, okay, tell me why you're not voting.
Mm-hmm.
And I know your book really hits on that. So let's talk about this whole felony thing. that's central to your book. How do you think these laws are rooted in systemic racism, and what impact do they have on the communities of color today?
So they have a ton of impact. Let me start forward and then go backwards. It's not too often that I could give our great state of Ohio a big shout out and things like that. But when it comes to felony disenfranchisement, our state is actually leading by example in the right direction. The state of Ohio is, because you can have a felony in the state of Ohio and still register to vote and still be a voter. You can be in jail in the state of Ohio and still vote by absentee ballot. And so many people that I come across over the last 30 days or so, I've knocked on over 1,000 doors, talked to probably over 2,500 people, and that's one of the number two, number three questions and things that are coming up. Like, hey, I have a felony, or I have a loved one or a friend. And they're saying they can. Yes, they can in the state of Ohio. Now, if we go to Florida, Wyoming, Alabama, Arkansas, or any of the few other states I can go on naming, it's just not so. And it's like mind blowing that if a state like Ohio, with all of our political problems and things, can figure out a solution on this path, why can't all these other states? And one of the mind blowing things that I found out while writing the book is that 6.1 million Americans are like felony disenfranchised in a sense. So that's nearly four times the amount of people in the world that are impacted by this.
Yeah.
So that's like one in essentially every 13 people that are of voting age. That's a problem. And we call ourselves the greatest country on the world.
Yeah. Yeah, great thing, which leads me to my next question. I know I didn't share these questions with you, so it's amazing how you like are hitting on these questions that I asked. In your research, what have you found to be the most significant legal or political obstacles to restoring voting rights for those impacted by felony disenfranchisement? And I think that's major, because let's take Florida, for example. And you and I had a great conversation on Florida when you were writing the book. Even after they reinstated them, they put fines on top of that. And I believe it was some of the NBA players like LeBron James and others who went and paid those. So the obstacles continue. So how do we, because we can't keep relying on other people to pay all these bills. Should that not be a part of legislation where reinstate without the fee, or a very nominal fee?
No, it definitely should be a part of the legislation. But to double back and answer the question, last year, as of August 2023, the NAACP sued the governor of Virginia, Youngkin, and not only sued him, but sued the state and what they're doing. Here, let me just read a quick section from the book, because it just sits right in on it. In the book, I write, according to a lawsuit that was filed in 2023, Virginia is the state with the fifth highest number of citizens disenfranchised for felony convictions. That's over 312,000 people, everybody. Not to mention, Black Virginians make up less than 20% of the state's voting age population, but account for nearly half of all those disenfranchised due to felony conviction, according to the suit. So it's things like that. And that's one of the most recent cases, and probably the case that's still to this day getting the most attention as we speak about it right now.
Yeah, and thank you for, what page is that on? So when people buy the book, they can go read that page.
It's on page 58.
Page 58. Y'all know I'm serious about page numbers and where you can find this information. So we are down to, for many people, let's take Ohio, and there was several that I read yesterday on News in Motion. October the 7th is just a few days away. October 1st is next Tuesday. So was that Monday or Tuesday will be October the 7th. There's some deadlines of October the 5th. So what can people do now, knowing that I only have a small window to make this happen, to become a registered voter? What can they do? Who do they contact? Where do we go from here to make sure
Well,
these?
I know. I know you have a link that you put up, and then when you were at Kennedy's, you had the QR code. Scan that QR code, and it'll take you to your Secretary of State's website. Make sure you're still registered to vote. For example, here in Ohio, almost a little over almost 1 million people were like purged just a few weeks ago. Here in Franklin County, where I stand, where the capital of Columbus is located, almost 30,000, meaning, so the exact number is 22,800, I believe. But I say almost 30,000 people were purged. While I've been out talking to people all across the city and the county, really, I came across a pastor who's been voting for years since he was 18. He gets out his congregation, he does sows to the polls, he does all that. But guess what? When I got to talk to him and he scanned the QR code, found out he was purged. And he had to go through the next 2 pages to re-register to vote. This is a pastor who is active in voting in the primaries and off-season elections and presidential elections, and he was purged. I check mine just about as much as Gail checks hers, which is probably as often as now I'm paying all the bills once a month, because you have to. It's become a necessity now. So you need to make that part of your what Gail was just talking about, your vote plan. That should be a part of your pre-vote plan, in a sense.
Yeah, yeah. I shared with News and Motion last week. Bishop T.D. Jakes was purged. He was
Wow.
having a conference on voting, and someone said, "Well, let's just check yours." I guess to put him on TV, and he was like, "What happened?" But they were able to fix it. But he was like, "Wow." He had no idea of all people he was purged. Shirley Nicholson says convicted felons running for highest office, therefore
Yes, they
felons
do.
should be able to vote. Yeah, I agree with that completely. So let me ask you one more question before we get out of here. I'm trying to think which one, because I have about 20 questions here for you.
Right.
Um, Looking forward, what do you hope readers will do after finishing your book, and how can they translate their awareness into meaningful action?
So what I hope readers do at the end of the day is number one, you get out and you become a civic participant in not just these federal elections, but more important in your local elections, because these school board races, these city commissions, these city council races, and on and on and on, they count. County commissioner races, they all count. And they probably, I will argue to my last breath, are more important than who's in the White House. Yes, who's in the White House is important, but these local races are so much more important. Here in Columbus, you all know what's going on with the school board and things right now, but only you all are to blame because you didn't get out and vote. And this is why it's so fundamental. And even though the book finally was released this year, but wrote over last year, this book was so on point when Kamala was given the tap by President Biden to say, "Hey, I want you to take my place." I mean, it just made even more sense. I remember calling Gail up, like, "All right, the book is at the printer, but I think we need to add more into it." And she's like, "No, no, 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 don't do that, don't do that. Just wait for the sequel after the election and things like that." And I'm like, "All right, but this is we could add more into chapter 6." And chapter 6, by the way, is you can't make this shit up. And no, we don't cuss, but on News and Motion, but that's the title of the chapter, because there's a certain stuff. See, I changed up to where you can't make up about what's going on. And so at the end of the day, I just really hope you all get out and vote. And for those of you, I'll tease you with something else. You may want to go read the introduction where I talk about America being the melting pot. And I mean, I kick things off with a big bang there. And this book, anybody can read. If my 9-year-old siblings, who are twins, can read it and call me up and say, "Hey, you misspelled a word," but I didn't. Anybody could read it. True, they may be a little bit more advanced than some of us, but if a 9-year-old can read the book, I believe any of us can read the book. And it's a conversational tone, just like me and Gail and you all have been having this morning. So,
Yeah.
as my good friend Jennifer Lewis would say, go buy my book.
That's right. I want them to do that. So answer this question and then tell us where we can get the book. How can allies support this movement, especially when we're talking about those who are thinking, I have a felony conviction, so therefore I cannot vote. And that's not true in every state. And as you're doing that, Dr. Antoinette says, if you can't work at Amazon, you shouldn't be able to sit in the Oval. So there's that. So let us know, how can allies support this movement? Because there's a lot of people out here. I remember, I think it was 2020, where I was at Target and I was asking some young people about voting, and he said something. I said, that doesn't have, he was talking about his felony conviction. I said, in Ohio, you can vote. And he had no idea that he could do that. So
Well,
how can allies support this movement, and where can we get your book?
Well, you could get it on Amazon. I'm double back to that. But how you support the movement is number one, get educated. Just do a simple Google search about your state, and the information will come up about felony disenfranchisement. And number two, what you do is get out between now and whenever your deadline turns off. It's different for every state. Some states are already in early voting, but let's take Ohio, for example. Between now and October 5th, go find 5 friends, go find 5 family members, go to the Secretary of State's website, and just make sure you're registered to vote. That's all I could ask. And then after that, as Gail would tell you, and it's still another line for Jennifer Lewis. There's no better way to say this. I'm sorry, Gail. Get your ass out and vote. This is the most important election.
For you.
Yes, it is. It's a jar. It's the cuss jar is on foul, and Gail's going to get the tip, and the News and Motion family is going to get the donation for that. I'm serious. But no, this is very, very important that you all get out and vote if you're 18 or older. And here's one more thing before I tell you how to get the book on Amazon. If you turn 18 by election day, if you're 17 right now, but you turn 18 on November the 5th, you can still vote. You can still vote. Yeah. So still register. Yeah. Still get registered, because if you're 18 by November 5th, you can still vote. So on November 6th, or because it's going to be election week, November 11th, I don't want to hear nothing if you don't like the outcome if you didn't vote. Don't come hit me up. Don't hit Gail up. Don't hit nobody up.
That's it. That's it. I'm with you 1,000%. 1,000%. So we can put the book up again. We can get the book on Amazon.
Yes.
And you're starting your book tour actually this weekend, right?
Yes, I'm going actually back out on a tour this weekend. I've been touring the state of Ohio. This weekend, I will tour more of the state, and then in October, which is next week, surprisingly, as we enter in the 30 days, I'll be making my way around the country and things like this. So you could catch me on the college campus at a book studio or wherever near you. In the comments after this, I will drop in the comments, my email address, if you want me to come to a bookstore near you or just come to an area near you. Let me know and I'll be there.
Will you also talk briefly about the community engagement events you're doing around the book as well, where you're pulling together small groups to talk about questions people may have, and you have the answers in the book, or you have the answers yourself as you're writing the second book?
Yes, so I am having a lot of community conversations, not just around voting, but around civic engagement and things like that. And then everything that goes into voting, because your whole show has actually kind of been about, surprisingly, everything that's in the book. You talked about the Democrats' messaging in the book, and I talk about in the book why Republicans have been so good at it and how Democrats can get better at it in one of the chapters. And you hit right home on it, surprisingly, and they're doing amazing this time around. Can't be more excited about that. So just having conversations like that, essentially the conversations I'm having is putting it down where the goats can get it, where anybody can understand it. It's not high level. Yes, I could use $500 words, but I just want to speak like this, like we're around the dinner table and catch up. I'll be hosting, or my company will be hosting a few rallies in October, big ones in Cleveland, Columbus, and Cincinnati, and we'll be touring all of the big major cities celebrities, with candidates and things like that, because we just don't want to be on air and around talking about it. We want to be about it, and we want to bring these candidates to you, so you could have the opportunity to not only ask them questions, but also ask them the most important question: why they should deserve your vote,
Yeah.
because your vote is no more important than my vote, Gail's vote, or anybody's vote.
Yeah.
And the candidate should be able to answer that.
Good point. So y'all can get that book on Amazon. Hold it up again, please. I gotta find my book. I think I left it at the bakery. Black America. Read it because I can't see it without my glasses.
So, Black America, it's time for us to save America again.
Yep, it's time for us to save America again. Great book, great book. And I'm gonna touch on something as he gets ready to leave before I go into the inspirational message. What Devontae just shared there. We were in conversation while we were going through the book. He was writing it. I was making comments. We were going back and forth. And I would say, you should enter this in here. And he would say, well, you talk about that a lot. Well, I don't own the market on that. And I said, go ahead and put in the book. That's collaboration. One person cannot be the only person that's putting things out there. And so y'all be okay with people sharing content and explaining it. Just make sure you're giving each other credit. That's all people want. And if that doesn't happen, okay, fine. But we don't own the corner of the market of anything. But I love that we were able to talk back and forth. And I want more and more of us to be able to do that. But he would be like, well, that's what you say. I don't care. Say it. So we worked.
Let me give you one more shout out, everybody. This book that you all are going to be reading isn't the book it started out to be. It was going to be an academic book. Got probably like almost all the way through with that book, and I ran from Gail for a week and all the other editors, and I was like, I'm done. I can't do this. I'm bored out of my mind. And then came back, and we were able to compile this in just a few weeks. And this is probably the one of and I do a lot of writing as a journalist and things like that, and just as a thought leader. But this is probably one of the most important works I've ever written, and a work that's now a bestseller. And I just want to publicly thank Gail and to all the News in Motion family. Just thank all of you, and also as I prepare to head out of here. Continue tuning in to independent media outlets such as News in Motion, Unbossed Columbus, and others. Make sure they're trusted and vetted first. But make sure you tune into the independent ones, because you get to hear news and stories on independent outlets and takes that you don't necessarily get to hear on the mainstream. Now, and I love a good MSNBC, CNN commentary and panel, but it never beats independent media outlets.
I agree with that. Thank you so much for saying that too. And y'all, he did run from me, and I was like, take that out. This whole chapter needs to go. And he would have an attitude with me. He'd come back, okay, you're right. Mm-hmm, yeah, I know what I'm doing. Check that out. Cut that out. Put this in. Expand on this. Shorten this. We just had a great time. Davia said, just bought the book. Boom, there you go.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
All right, I know you got to go to the big table. Enjoy your big table, and I'm gonna head to the inspirational message. Thank you again for joining me, as always.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye. All right, y'all. For the inspirational message, y'all, this jacked me up. And if you're gonna hang out with me as I go here. I've been in Job. The Holy Spirit moved me to read Job, and I could not figure out, why am I reading Job? Like, why? Of all books of the Bible, why am I reading Job? Well, I read chapter 1. I was like, okay. And I've been avoiding chapter 2 until this morning. So my inspirational message was something else, but it changed when I got up this morning at 4:20 something this morning. And for those of you who are new, yep, we go Bible in the inspirational message. So if you need to tune off, we got it. We understand. Just go buy Devontae's book. If the rest of you want to hang out with this, because I have a question that I'm going to have you wrestle with today. So Job 2 says, on another day, the angels came to present themselves before the Lord, and Satan also came with them to present himself before him. And the Lord said to Satan, where have you come from? They asked the same questions in the first chapter. Now, I want to stop right here momentarily to first show you something that I've never seen before in reading Job. That's angels with an S. That's plural. Satan showed up. Like, what you doing here? What you doing here? Which, when I was praying, asking God, why am I reading Job? One of the things the Lord showed me was that every time you're doing something, the enemy gonna show up. Hold on. Satan answered the Lord from roaming through the earth and going back and forth in it. Then the Lord said to Satan, have you considered my servant Job? There is no one on earth like him. He is blameless and an upright, a man who fears God and shuns evil. And he still maintains his integrity, though you incite me against him to ruin him without any reason. So the Satan was shown without any reason to try to ruin you. Okay, let me keep going. I'm at verse 4 of Job 2. Skin for skin, Satan replied. A man will give all he has for his own life, but stretch out your hand and strike his flesh and bones, then he will surely curse you to your face. The Lord said to Satan, very well, then he is in your hands, but you must spare his life. Y'all follow me. So Satan went from the presence of the Lord and afflicted Job with painful sores from the soles of his feet to the top of his head. Then Job took a piece of broken pottery and scraped himself with it as he sat among the ashes. His wife said to him, his wife said to him, are you still holding on to your integrity? Curse God and die. That's what the wife said. He replied, you are talking like a foolish woman. Shall we accept good from God and not trouble? In all of this, Job did not sin in what he said. Let me tell y'all what I wrote down in my journal. I put the quote, shall we accept good from God and not evil? And then this question dropped, which is the question I want all of you to wrestle with today. Can God trust you enough to refer you to Satan and you not lose your integrity? I'll read that again. Can God trust you enough to refer you to Satan and you not lose your integrity? That has messed with me since 4 something this morning. Because when I read this, I said, first of all, the angels, they're plural, there were many, and Satan showed up. And then the Lord said to Satan, have you considered? He offered up one of his. He offered him up. Can God offer you up? Are you willing to take good from God and the trouble that may come? Because Satan keeps popping up. Can God trust you enough to refer you to Satan and not lose your integrity? I'm going to leave it there this morning. I would encourage you. This goes with what we talked about yesterday. We have our times of complaints. We have our times of grumbling. We have our times of frustration. But I'm here to say to you today, as I'm doing my own self-evaluation, I guess you can call this Wellness Day, as I'm doing my own self-evaluation. Latrice says, you're walking heavy, sis. Robert Holman says, good question. Deborah Johnson said, this is deep. Listen, I want you to think about this. As I'm doing my own self-evaluation, I started saying, but the good outweighs the trouble. But why am I always focused on the trouble? Why do I wrestle so much with the trouble? The good is here. And then when you start writing out your accomplishments, and I've done this now every year, at least once a year. I started writing out my accomplishments when I got off of News and Motion yesterday morning. And as I was writing them out, things just kept coming back to me. You've done this, you've done this, you've done this, you've done this. God blessed you here, God blessed you there. Yes, there's been times of famine. And yes, there's been times where you're just like distraught. And yes, there's times that you just want to walk away. But they do not outweigh the good I've done. So do you only want good from me? Y'all, I was messed up this morning. Devontae will tell you, when I came to the green room, I was like, I'm going to need a minute, because I was still processing that. Can God trust you enough to refer you to Satan and you not lose your integrity? Sit with that. Y'all, tomorrow I have an amazing guest who's joining me. We're going to be talking about Springfield, Ohio, and what's going on there and what we can do to help. There's a lot of people who are getting involved, and this doesn't have to be just Ohio. People are helping across this nation, across the nation. Yeah, and you know, the citizens sued them yesterday. So please tune in tomorrow. This is where we're headed. This is where we're headed. And in this season, this feels great. So y'all, I'm your host, Gail Dudley. Again, go out and buy Devontae Going's book on Amazon. Do that today. Hopefully, maybe we'll have a book sign or something where we can come together and sign it or order it. Invite him to your city, state, county, whatever. Have him sign the book. Have him have a conversation. He mentioned the places in Ohio, but he is traveling outside of Ohio. So make sure you check him out. Y'all, I'm Gail Dudley. Thank you so much for joining me. Y'all know what I say. Stay well, everyone. And remember, make some bold moves. Oh, and answer the question. Can God trust you enough where he can refer you to Satan and you not lose your integrity? We're out.
Motion.